Hey everyone, it's Kyla at the MJC again, and I am back to walk you guys through the confidential petition addendum. The confidential petition addendum will be used at the end or as part of any initial divorce filing, whether you're filing jointly or separately or with or without minor children. But before we get started, as always, I just want to remind everybody that nothing in this video is intended to be legal advice. It's a video, so I'm not able to analyze your specific situation or to help you figure out whether a divorce is right for you, whether this is the right timing on a divorce, whether you're likely to get what you're asking for in your divorce, or even what you should be asking for in your divorce. So if you have those kinds of questions, I would recommend getting some brief legal advice or some legal advice. You can get brief legal advice for free here in Milwaukee County through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinics. If you're not located in Milwaukee County, you can contact your clerk of court to find out what resources are available in your area. All right, so let's hop right into this. Up at the top, as always, as anyone who's been filling out these forms with me knows, we always start with the county where you're going to file the divorce. And so that is Milwaukee for my sample case and for most of the cases that we see through the Justice Center. And then you're just going to put the petitioner, or if you've been doing a joint petition, joint petitioner A. So we're going to put whoever's name has been going first, we're going to go ahead and put here. And so in our case, as you'll recall, John Smith has been filing. And so we're going to put his name first. And then on the second line, we're going to put the respondent, if you've been going separately, or the name of the person whose name has been listed second, if you're filing jointly. And so I'm just going to type in John's soon-to-be ex, who is Jane Doe, and we'll put her there. As you'll recall from the other documents that we filed, you don't have a case number yet. That case number will be assigned when you file these documents and the court starts this case, essentially. Oh, and I've got a little bit of problem there. Okay, there we go. And down here, you're just going to put the party information. So again, we're going to list John Smith's name again, because you can see this is the petitioner or joint petitioner. So that is John Smith. If you want, some people always want to put their middle name, and that's fine. So John David Smith. You can definitely do that just to be more specific. You're going to put that person's date of birth. And you'll enter their social security number. Apparently I'm having trouble typing this morning. 789, there we go. And you'll put a phone number for that individual. And so for this first person, you should have that information. So we'll talk in a moment about what to do if you don't know some of the information about the other party. But for this petitioner, even if you're filing separately, you should have all of this information about yourself. If you are someone who, for whatever reason, doesn't have a social security number, if you have a green card, or just for whatever reason you don't have a social, then just go ahead and leave that line blank. You don't need to put anything in there if you don't have a social. If you do have a social, you will want to list that number. And a lot of people worry and they say, hey, I'm worried about putting my social on this. This isn't public record. Basically, only the judges and a very limited number of court officials have access to this document. So you don't need to worry about putting your social on it. And then here on the next line, you're going to put the other person, and you'll want to follow the same format here. So if I only had put John's first and last name, I'd only put Jane's first and last name. Since I put John's middle name, we'll also include Jane's middle name as well. And then we'll put a birthday for Jane down here. Now, this is a point where some people will say, gee, I just don't remember my ex's birthday. Maybe it's been a long time. You guys have been split up for a while. You're going to want to put your best guess as far as you know what their birthday is. If you really, really can't come up with something, you're going to put as much as you can. So here, maybe we know it was February of 1979 or what have you. But you really do want to, if you can at all, find that information either from your marriage license or from old calendars or anywhere you might be able to get that. You want to have that information. And similarly, you're going to put your X is social. And if you are filing jointly, say, then this information should be readily available. You can get it from each other. But if you are filing separately, you may not have that information. You may not be able to acquire it. And so in that circumstance, what we would say is go ahead and leave it blank. So if John doesn't know Jane's social, she won't give it to him. He doesn't have any old taxes or anywhere else where he might find it. We would just go ahead and leave that one blank. But I'm going to fill it in just for the sake of, I love a complete form. And then same thing, you're going to put that person's phone number. So you'll list that here. Again, if you don't know their phone number, if they've been gone a long time, or you haven't kept in touch, go ahead and leave that blank. But if possible, you do want to include that information. For us, other party isn't going to be a section that you'll be filling out, so you can go ahead and skip C. Here, if you have no minor children, so if you're a group where you're filing without children, you're just going to check none on this box. If you filed with minor children, so if you and your soon-to-be ex have at least one child who is 17 or younger, you're going to list the names of your minor children. So in the petition, we had to list the names of adult children too. Here, we're just going to list the kids who are under 18. And so we had Susie Smith, and we'll put in, again, her birthday as well. And it was I think it was 2005. And then you'll put the other, any other children you have. So earlier on their petition, John and Jane listed 2 children. So we're going to go ahead and list both of those kids again. And then here, socials for the kids. Again, if you have those socials for the children, you'll want to go ahead and put them in. If you don't have them, then that's all right. Just go ahead and leave it blank if you don't have the kids' socials. So there, like that. Again, you can leave the socials blank if you don't have them for the children. Ideally, as I keep saying, you want to fill in as everything if you can. The more things that are blank, the more likely that a court might not accept the document or that you might have problems down the line. But at least here in Milwaukee, people tend to be able to file if they can't get one of the socials for some reason. This last section is wanting other minor children. So as you'll recall from the petition, other minor children are children who were born during the marriage that are not yours together. So if you haven't been together for a while and you have a child that isn't your spouse's, you're going to include that child here. If there aren't any children, either you have no minors at all, or if you have, you only have minor children together, you'll check none. If there is a child that was born while you were married, so only includes children born while you were married, to one party that isn't the others, then you'll go ahead and list that here. So again, in our hypothetical, Jane had a child named Jason Doe, and we'll put in his date of birth here. And again, social, if you have it. One thing we find a lot is that people who, that often if you aren't the parent of this child, so if you are the parent, you probably know their social and you can plug it in. If you aren't the parent, so if, again, John Smith is filling this out, but he doesn't know this child's, social or that sort of thing, you'll put as much as you know. So here we've put the name. If you didn't know the name, you would just probably put unknown or leave it blank. Birth date, you'll put if you know, unknown or leave it blank. Just as much as you can. And then you're going to put which party, so which of these 2 people is the parent of that child. So in this case, that's Jane Doe. And I guess in looking at this, I didn't include middle names. You certainly could. It's nice to be consistent, but middle names aren't required. I don't know, they have very similar middle names because I'm making them up right now. Again, you should put the real names, but I obviously am using sample people, so these are fictional names. All right, and so then the only thing you have left is just these signature blocks. So We have John Smith here, and John will put his address, and then and that's Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53206. You'll put email addresses if you have them. If you don't have an email address, then just go ahead and leave that blank. And then again, you'll put that phone number. You don't need to include a state bar number unless you are an attorney and you're filling this out. And if you are an attorney and you're watching this video, thank you for the compliment. But for most folks watching this video, you won't have a state bar number to put in here. And you'll notice we didn't type in on the signature or the date line because we at the MJC recommend, obviously you have to sign it, unless you're e-filing, but that's a whole different conversation. And date down here, we recommend handwriting the date as long as you're paper filing. So that's all you have to do if you filed separately. If you are filing jointly, then you would fill in the second person's name here as well, and their address. And you'll put an email for that person as well. If, again, the second person doesn't have an email, just go ahead and leave that blank. And then a phone number for the other person as well. All right, and there, same thing, that person won't have a state bar number unless they are an attorney for an attorney, and so unlikely that you'll have that if you're watching this video. That is all for this form, so it's just a one-pager, nice and easy. Thank you all for watching. This should be the end of the divorce documents. If you've been watching this in order, this is the last of your divorce documents for that core filing. So thanks for watching this video and this series of videos. I hope that it was helpful for you. If you do have additional questions, you're certainly welcome to come into our courthouse location. We are located in room G9 of the Milwaukee County Courthouse, where we can provide more information on the forms. We can answer specific questions if you have them, and we can also provide you information on where you can get legal advice, at least here in Milwaukee County. All right, that is all for now. As always, thank you guys so much. I hope you all go out and represent yourselves well.